Two is the time right now. Now to a story developing in the district where people tell us, without warning, a nuclear power plant prototype has shown up in their neighborhood.
We got our first look at this thing yesterday outside the Washington Convention Center, right across from Apple Carnegie Library. And since its arrival, our Jess Arnold has been asked by so many of you to look into this. And it has to do with nuclear energy and how a D.C. company hopes to make it more accessible. So Jess joining us live from where this model is now at the corner of 10th and V Streets Northwest. And Jess, the main questions are, what is it and why is it there? Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, it is a prototype of a micro nuclear reactor. You can see it here behind me here, as you mentioned, at 10th and V Street. And it's here because there's a data center conference that is happening in DC this week. The company that's called Last Energy that built this wanted to show off this model during this conference. That's why they moved it to the convention center yesterday. And I want to be clear, this is not active. This is not an actual reactor. Again, it is a prototype, a model, a representation of what they would like to build. So take a look again at that footage from the convention center yesterday. Last Energy builds what they call these nuclear islands, which are micro-scale nuclear power plants. A spokesperson said that they would build the real ones by manufacturing parks, data center campuses, or other industrial environments, not in the middle of residential neighborhoods. Data centers are one of their major target audiences for these. Now, they'd also secure all the appropriate regulatory permits, they say, before building any nuclear plants. Their goal in parking this 22-ton prototype outside of the convention center is to make the case for a clean energy strategy that revolves around nuclear power. Their team said historically, nuclear power has been too big and expensive to make it a realistic form of clean energy for many cities. So they're trying to show that it can be done in a smaller, more efficient and modular way. Now, especially at a time when D.C. is facing a budget shortfall, there's of course always questions about funding. So here's what their spokesperson had to say about that.
So our unique perspective is that all of these would be privately financed through private investment funds that focus on developing large infrastructure projects. So no government money would be needed to develop these.
So nuclear energy, of course, can be controversial when it comes to its safety. There is a regulatory agency charged with protecting public health, worker safety, and the environment when it comes to civilian nuclear power. The U.S. House of Representatives actually passed legislation this February that nuclear power watchdog, the Union of Concerned Scientists, flags could compromise safety. They wrote a letter this month urging the center to add more protective provisions, like protecting the commission's independence and rejecting foreign ownership of domestic nuclear facilities. So we'll have to see what the Senate ends up doing with that legislation. But in the meantime, Last Energy is focused this week on that conference and, of course, plans to continue showing off this model as they work to promote smaller scale modular nuclear energy. Guys.
6:05 is the time right now. Thank you, Jess, for that report.